Hi and namaste. My name's Julie Kelly from Clear Mind Revolution, and today I want to talk to you about something that's really serious but you've probably never heard of. What I want to talk to you about today is compassion fatigue. Have you ever heard of it? Didn't think so. Well, compassion fatigue came to my attention from a friend of mine, Ellis Lawhouse. She's a doctor, she studied a doctorate, and she came across this compassion fatigue when she was listening to a talk from a lady called Juliet Watt over on TED Talks. And it seemed to resonate with her, and she thought that she would tell me about it because I work with the mind. That's the basis of most of my work. And also because I was going through some personal problems of my own at that time, and she thought it might be relevant. So, what is compassion fatigue? Well, it kind of speaks to for itself, really, doesn't it? By nature, most of us are compassionate. We give. We tend to give to others. Many of us are carers. Many of us are in the caring profession. We're raising children. We're raising families. We're looking after our husbands or wives. Many of us don't stop to even breathe, let alone take care of ourselves. So, compassion fatigue really is when we become exhausted because of our own compassion to others. But how can that happen if compassion's such a good thing? Well, as a Buddhist, compassion is part of my life, it's my nature. So it's my nature to reach out and help someone if they're in trouble. It's my nature to work in a caring profession so that I can help others that are less fortunate than myself. So how can that be a bad thing? Well, it isn't. It isn't a bad thing when there's a balance to it. But ask yourself this question. When did you ever do something nice for yourself? I mean, really nice. You probably can't think of that time. Well, now I'm going to talk about what are the pointers and the indicators that you, like many of us, might have compassion fatigue. So one pointer is feeling irritable and niggly. Now that can relate to any condition, it can relate to many things, but it's a classic with compassion fatigue. It's not that you resent caring, because that's the kind of person you are. No, it's not that you resent it. What it is, compassion fatigue, it's when your body is screaming out, saying to you, look, please let me have just a minute to myself. That's compassion fatigue. Also, when you wake up one morning and you just feel physically sick at the thought of getting out of bed and going about your daily role, there's just something which has left you physically and mentally exhausted. Many of us ladies, we put it down to the menopause. Many people put it down to age. But compassion fatigue has classic pointers, and this is one of them. Another one is broken sleep. Broken sleep when you get off to sleep, but the mind is racing and racing about what you've got to do the following day, who you've got to visit, how you can make them feel better and how guilty you're going to feel if you don't. And what we do, we carry that into our sleep, and of course we wake up we're wired when we wake up and we can't get back to sleep. And those thoughts are still running around in our minds. And this is a really clear sign of compassion fatigue, that stress factor is taking over even into our sleep. Another sign of compassion fatigue is not being able to go to sleep at all. Insomnia, staying up all night, worrying about things, worrying about bills, worrying about the mortgage, worrying about work. All those things, worrying about the future, a future that hasn't even happened yet. And we miss living in the moment because of a condition called compassion fatigue. So how can we actually combat compassion fatigue? How can we do it? What are the pointers? Well, I'm not going to give you anything drastic in this video because for a long time now, like many of us, you will have been to a schedule. You will have been doing this compassion, giving all the time. So to actually ask you to rein it in, big style, is going to be a real shock to the system. So what I'm going to do is give you subtle pointers, okay? Things that you can do to start off the process. And believe me, it did help me when I learned about it. The first one is the next time somebody calls you and asks you for a favour, you know, for example, oh, could you do me a bit of shopping because I'm not really supposed to go out and there's nobody else to do it for me. And that's a classic, isn't it? That's probably happened to you so many times before. Could you do me a favour? Well, one way to get around that is just once, just one time, say to that person, yeah, I don't mind doing that for you, but I can't do it today. Tomorrow I'll do it for you. Is that okay? But I'm not doing it today because I'm busy. Now that's going to seem really hard for you, like it does for many of us, because we're so used to jumping and running the minute someone calls. But if we do that just once, it starts off the process of assertiveness. It's not being mean and it's not being obstructive. It's being assertive so that we can preserve our own mental health and physical health. Another one would be to take yourself off at some point, just once a week, lock yourself in the bathroom and have a lovely relaxing bath with lots of nice smellies like lavender and rose and whatever you want to do. But take that time for you. It might only be half an hour, but take that time. Mindfulness. Bring mindfulness in. Now, we all know that I keep going on about mindfulness and it seems to be the buzzword, doesn't it? But mindfulness is so important. Think about this. When did you last eat a meal without being interrupted or without doing something else at the same time? You probably can't remember. Well, that's the same as many of us. So once a week, at least once a week, turn off your phone, turn off your iPad, turn off the computer, the TV, and sit and eat a meal that you've cooked and enjoy every single bite. Savour every piece that you put in your mouth. Taste it, enjoy it, and don't feel guilty about it. This is your time. Also, you can take yourself off for 10 minutes into a different room to meditate. You don't have to be an experienced meditator to do that. You can just sit and observe the breath. 10 minutes out of your schedule. We can all manage 10 minutes, can't we, to sit quietly and observe the breath. It's no big thing, but what meditation does do is it helps to bring down those stress levels and it helps to break the chain, to take out a link in that chain of the stress that keeps going and going and going. So it helps us to bring everything down to a manageable level. And when we're meditating, the mind is just quiet. It starts to become quiet. Maybe not the first time, maybe you'll get lots of different things coming into your mind because that's normal when we start using the mind in a different way. But eventually, if you keep doing that, it will start to quieten. But at least you're taking yourself away from the usual routine. Going out for long walks is a really nice way to get away from that compassion fatigue. Take some time for ourselves. And a really important one that can help, especially with sleep, is make your bedroom comfortable, make it airy, you know, put a nice dim light in the bedroom, maybe a red light bulb, because what we need to do, we need to trick our mind into believing it's nighttime and time for sleep. Because most of the times we're on our phone in bed, we're on our iPads, watching movies or whatever we do. Please, just one time every week, leave those things in another room. Get a nice dim light, some blackout curtains, make the room dark so that you feel ready for sleep. Those are certain pointers that you can use to help you combat compassion fatigue. All it is, it's about retraining the mind to understand that you are special. Ask yourself these questions. What is it that makes me less deserving than the next person? What is it I don't like about myself that makes me not want to spend time with myself? These are questions that you should ask yourself honestly and frankly, because when you do, like many of us, it's going to be the beginning of a journey of real deep self-discovery. So for now, I'm going to leave it there. I hope it's been helpful, and I really hope that you benefit from this video. I would love your feedback. But for now, namaste. Thank you.